Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley in Washington. We're talking with Joshua Green in San Antonio, Texas, telling us about one of the bright spots, one of the success stories to come out of the I think the declining phase or the ebb of the Occupy Wall Street. Time will tell on that, but certainly the success story is there. How do you bring programmatic content? How do you provide leadership, program, real demands, and show people some political education? If you listen to the right-wing commentators, they'll be telling you about defecation, urination, rape, the whole scatology of everything that's going on, and then they'll say there's a suicide here in Burlington and there's a murder in Oakland, California. This is what happens when you have no demand. If you would come forward with demands saying, Occupy Wall Street wants an immediate student loan amnesty, 100% cancellation, and a Wall Street sales tax, and a stop on foreclosures, they would be screaming about that. They wouldn't have time to go into this filthy slander that they do. So, Joshua, please give us for people who are in your area and would like to join in your efforts, which I think are exemplary, how can they get in touch with you? How can they join the work that you're doing?
Yes, you can send an email to occupytx@gmail.com, occupytx@gmail.com. I'll be down in the Hemisphere Park most weekends if you want to come down there. And if I might share with you some observations and strategies I use for working with this group.
Go right ahead, but quickly.
Okay, so I noticed that serious people that are there for serious reasons get easily frustrated with these leaderless models. And I found that not pushing directly against the General Assembly consensus model, but doing it after you establish credibility and value to the group has been more successful. And I've done that by bringing in strong programmatic ideas expressed through organized actions such as this teach-in, and that draws the serious people to these productive efforts. Let's see. Also, organizing events that start on time, have an agenda, and make evident progress during the meeting or the event stands out from the events that currently go on. And I'm focusing on building student groups. I think there's a lot of potential there, and it's long-term potential that can carry over through the winter to the next season.
Okay, very good. So it's, again, Occupy TX, correct?
Yes, sir, at gmail.com.
Okay, so Occupy Thomas X-Ray at gmail.com. I urge people to get in touch. That if you're serious at all about doing something in a long-term, organized way, this is the way to go. Joshua, come back soon and give us another report when you get another good success like that one.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, and more power to you. All right. Now, one of the things we should have mentioned here was there's hysteria at the Wall Street Journal. Boy, you think that the Wall Street sales tax is a globalist plot? Take a look at the Wall Street Journal editorial page, Tuesday, November 8th. Letters to the editor. Transaction tax will hurt the economy and drive trades abroad. Now, this is in response to a very timid op-ed by Ralph Nader, Time for a Tax on Speculation. That was November 2nd. So old Ralph wants a 1/20th of 1%. 1/20th of 1%. After a $100,000 exclusion per person. I would say, no, let's do it differently. 1% tax after a $1 million exclusion. This is to hit speculators, not little people trading for their IRAs. So one guy says, the government has no role in regulating risk. We're a capitalist society, and loss plays that role. Yeah, wait a minute. That's what happened in 1932, and we don't want it again. We don't want banks that are in the risk business. This is not what we want. We have got to use sane, common-sense reforms to prevent the lunatic, suicidal, destructive excesses of this market system. You need a market regulated, highly regulated. Here's another guy who says, all the little traders like me, right, people who make money on this, we would be wiped out. Well, maybe this is simply not a realistic way to make money anyway. Most people who try to live as a day trader don't make it. And finally, one guy says, Washington speculated on housing over the last 2 decades. I'm sorry, credit default swaps, and above all, collateralized debt obligations. So this is like a half page of letters in here. One guy does say that he thinks that it should be more, and he has some very abstruse logarithmic formula. Let's forget about that. Let's just make it 1% on everything over $1 million exclusion. And having treated that programmatic point, now let's get back to the Europeans, right? We were saying the European program, and if you're in Greece, you're in Italy or France, Spain, any place else, what's your emergency program? No bailouts. Forget about the recapitalization of banks. European Financial Stability Fund should be turned into the European Infrastructure Building Fund. Just transfer that money into real productive investments. No more bailouts of bankrupt derivatives, toxic, kited derivatives. No cuts, no austerity, no genocide, because that's what it means in many places in Europe. Ban the most destructive forms of derivatives. Ban the collateralized debt obligations that brought down Bear, Merrill, Lehman, and so forth, and ban the credit default swaps that brought down AIG. This program is applicable to Canada, too. Ban naked shorts of anything permanently. Impose a 1% Tobin tax, securities transfer tax, financial turnover tax, Wall Street sales tax, or UGG, Robin Hood tax on financial transactions above $1 million per person. So it hits speculators only. Concerning these ratings agencies, they've gone too far. Jail them. Put them in the clink. Raid them. They're guilty of insider trading, corruption, and God knows what else. Regulate them out of existence. Tax them out of existence. That's another way to do it. But shut them down at all costs. These are now, declare them enemy aliens. If you've got the Trading with the Enemy Act, declare them to be enemy aliens. In the phase of this crisis, you may well need capital controls and exchange controls, depending on the country you're dealing with. Reforms commodities markets. Impose a 100% margin for speculators. If you want to bet money, put up 100% of what you're betting. Don't make it easier for people to multiply their destructive power. You've got, in Europe, unfortunately, you've got to fence off the British market, since the British City of London is powerful enough to prevent any of this from happening inside Britain. You've got to look in particular at this LCH ClearNet. That is the point where much of this speculation occurs. It is, of course, deregulated. It's under the British system. That's something that you should begin to keep out of your country. That is to say, ban transactions from your country that involve LCH ClearNet. Above all, seize control of the central bank, Europeanize the European Central Bank, and force them to cough up tranches, blocks of 100 of a trillion euros each to start building infrastructure.